Hello YouTube, how's it going? It's the professional here. So today I got a unique video for you guys. This is the CEO work guide. And in this video we are going to be focusing on all the CEO works that you can do. We're going to be focusing on how much time it takes. We're going to be estimating an average time of completion for each CEO works, talking about the cooldowns, the rewards, and if there's any other requirements for the CEO works. We're going to be talking about the best ones, the average ones, and the worst ones, and which ones are the best and most profitable to do. And unlike other people, I'm not going to waste your time, and I'm going to tell you guys straight to the point. The best CEO work to do, in my opinion, is Headhunter. Headhunter is the best one because it only has a 10-minute cooldown, and if you and your friend, let's say you're doing it 2 people in this case, if you and your friend are in weaponized vehicles, like I'm in the laser and my friend is in the buzzard, you can complete this in under 2 minutes if you're really quick. You got to take out 4 targets around the map, and in under 2 minutes, you can get 20 to 21 grand. So Headhunter is the best one with a combination of Sightseer, but I'm going to get the Sightseer in a little bit. Now, let's talk about the other CEO works. Sightseer is the second best VIP work in my opinion, and Sightseer requires you to basically pick up 3 packages, do 3 hacking minigames. The word search right here, this one is pretty easy, and then the second one where you get to match up these keys with this line, that one can be pretty easy. It's best if you do this with some kind of air vehicle, like a thruster. For instance, thruster is my personal favorite because it's so easy to take off, and you can pretty much land it anywhere. The other minigame, this one is kind of annoying, the number search. This one you can get really lucky and you can find the numbers early on, or it could take you a little bit longer. But Sightseer is the best one in combination with Headhunter. There's a 10-minute cooldown on each one. Just do it back to back. You can beat the cooldown. If you do Headhunter and you finish it, there is a 10-minute cooldown. And then after 5 minutes, Sightseer will be ready. And then you do Sightseer, and then after 5 minutes is up right there of Sightseer, you should be able to do Headhunter right after that. So it's the best combination is to do Headhunter and Sightseer just back to back. These are the best activities. Sightseer, you get around $22,000 just for completing it under 5 minutes. You can get around $23,000 if you take a little longer, but I personally recommend just finishing as fast as possible. So let's talk about some of the unique VIP works. The first one on here is Plowed, and this one actually requires you to own a Phantom Wedge, so you can't do this one unless you own a Phantom Wedge, and you can't even use your own Phantom Wedge. You have to use the Phantom Wedge that the game tells you to go to. And what you have to do on this one is you have to smash 9 ammo crates, and they're scattered around the map, and some of them can be pretty close to each other, other ones can be pretty far from each other. So you guys see I went all the way from Elysian Island up here to Sandy Shores, and I'm going to estimate around 67 minutes to complete it, as long as you don't have any incidents along the way, and you will get around $28,000 for it, which does seem like a good amount. Unfortunately, the drawback on this one is that this one has a 1-hour cooldown, and like I said earlier, you need to own the Phantom Wedge in order to do this job. So doing this job, it's not really worth it. I mean, just maybe like once at the start of every hour, but doesn't have really that much incentive to do. Next job on here is Fully Loaded, and this requires you to own a Ruiner 2000, and you can't even use your own custom Ruiner 2000. You have to go to the one that the mission tells you specifically to go to, and on this one you have to blow up 10 cars that are around the map. Personally, I recommend doing this in Sandy Shores because there's not really going to be any buildings in the way, but unfortunately they're still scattered around the map and they're pretty far from each other. However, you don't have to actually go there with the Ruiner. If you have a second friend with you, that second friend can be like in a buzzard or a jet and can blow up the other vehicles. That's the most effective way to do it. But even after all that time, and we spent like 6.5 minutes doing this, we got around 23,000. It's not really worth it. And this thing also has a 1-hour cooldown, so it's not this job isn't the greatest. However, there is one advantage to doing this job. The one advantage is not to actually use the money, but to fight griefers. The Fully Loaded Ruiner has unlimited missiles, and it has a lot of good armor, and it can be a really good way to counter griefers. If you want to know how to use it to counter griefers, you can watch my friend Gillymaster. I'll actually put a link in the description to his video on his channel on that specifically. But other than that, this VIP work isn't really worth doing. It takes too long, and just the rewards are not great. Next one on here is Amphibious Assault, and for this one you are required to own a Technical Aqua, so you need to have a Technical Aqua to start this mission, and you can't use your own custom one. You have to use the one that the game tells you to use. And this one you have to drive across the map and you have to destroy 9 ammo crates, and they expect your gunner to do this, but it's actually more effective if one person just gets in a Technical Aqua and another person flies over in like a weaponized vehicle like a buzzard or a jet and just destroys the other crates. It's actually much more effective. And here we finished the mission in around close to 4 minutes, and we got 21,500. This mission, not really worth it and not really worth using a Technical Aqua. And one thing that annoys me about this mission is you get stuck in the worst places after it, and there is a 1-hour cooldown, so not a great mission to do either. Next job on here is Transporter, and Transporter actually requires you to own a Wastelander, and this mission is actually very simple. All you gotta do is just drive the Wastelander from point A to point B, just deliver it there, and I completed it here in around 4 minutes. This truck is decently fast on the highway, just avoid it getting blown up by other players. And I got around $22,000 for completing it in 4 minutes. It's a better VIP work. It's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. It's an easy 22 grand. Unfortunately, though, what sucks about this mission is that you need to own a Wastelander, and the Wastelander has almost no purpose besides owning it for this mission. And I don't think it's worth it to buy a Wastelander just to do this one mission. This mission, even though it is easy, it also has a 30-minute cooldown, which can be kind of a pain. I should have a 10-minute cooldown at least. The next VIP work on here is Fortified, and this one requires you to own an armored boxville. And if you're going to be starting up this mission, I recommend you go near Mirror Park right here, because the armored boxville will spawn right near the sewers, and then just take it right into the sewers. And once you're down here in the sewers, nobody can pretty much harm you. The NPCs can't harm you, and other players, they a lot of times they won't even figure out that you're down here. Just sit down here for 10 minutes and it's an easy 35 grand. And what's good about this mission is that you don't have to have any 8 players in the lobby. So you can do this in invite only and friend sessions. Other ones like executive search and piracy prevention, there needs to be at least one other player outside of your CEO. But for this one, you don't need to have anybody else in the lobby. And on completing it after 10 minutes, it'll take 10 minutes to complete, you get around 35 grand. And I personally, if you're going to be doing it in the tunnel, I recommend you start driving towards the tunnel exit a little bit before it ends, just so you don't get stuck in the tunnel, because there is a self-destruct sequence on this vehicle afterwards. And this job does have a 30-minute cooldown, but again, the drawback on this one is you need to own an armored boxville in order to be able to do this. The next one is Velocity, and this one requires you to own a rocket voltic, but again, you can't use your own custom rocket voltic. Have one player go straight on the highway when you start this mission up, because they have to be above 60 miles per hour or else the car will explode. However, have another person in an air vehicle like a jet, and if they're a good pilot, they can hit these checkpoints, which reduce the time by 20 seconds each. And I hit 3 of these checkpoints already. I've knocked a minute off the clock, and in this one, I managed to knock a total of 3 minutes off the clock. I'm estimating this one is going to take you around 5 to 7 minutes on completion, just as long as you have a good team of people that is hitting the checkpoints regularly, around 5 to 7 minutes, and you get pretty good pay for this one, 33,000. But the drawbacks of this one is you need to own a rocket voltic, and there is a 30-minute cooldown. I wish that the cooldown would have been less on this one, because this is one of my favorite VIP works. I love hitting the checkpoints with my jet, and it can make the mission go a lot quicker, and the pay is pretty good, 33,000. Next one on here is Ramped Up, and this one actually requires you to own a ramp buggy, and unfortunately you can't use your own custom one. And what happens is you need to have 2 people to do this mission, so you can't do this mission if you have 1 person. And the premise of this mission is that one player is supposed to use the ramp buggy as a ramp for other player to hit it with his motorcycle, but you don't need to use the Sanchez bike that the game tells you to use. You can actually use the oppressor, and if you're pretty good with it, you can actually hit these checkpoints without using the ramp buggy. But on some of them, you're gonna need help from the ramp buggy to hit them. So I managed to hit 3 right here with the oppressor, but other ones, sometimes you're going to need to use the ramp buggy in order to get up on certain rooftops, and this mission can be complicated to do. If you manage to collect all 15 of them, you will get around $40,000, but this mission is pretty complicated, and I managed to complete this mission in around 7 minutes, but the average player, it's probably going to take them around 10 minutes. That's because I got lucky and I hit a lot of them with the oppressor. But this mission, even though it does pay pretty good, it takes too long. It has a 1-hour cooldown. You need to own a ramp buggy, and it's kind of too complicated to do. Right after that, we have Stockpiling, and this one requires you to own a Blazer Aqua. I recommend you do this one in Sandy Shores. The drops are a lot easier, but this one, don't even bother doing this one if you don't have 4 players. It's the best to do it with 4 players. If you do this with just one other friend, there's no way that you're going to pick up all 30 checkpoints in 10 minutes. The drops are just so far from each other, and a lot of them are in the water. They're around the map here. I personally recommend you split up in teams. Have one player go to the east, have one player go to the south, one player to the middle of the map, and one player to the north in Sandy Shores. And then just pick them all up. Some of them are up in Paleto Bay also, I believe. And right after you collect all of these drops, if you manage to collect them in time, we managed to complete it in around 8 minutes and 30 seconds here. We got around 39,000. This one, I prefer this one over the ramp buggy one. It's a little easier than the ramp buggy one, but this one is still too complicated. You need 4 people. You need to go around the map, pick them all up. They're in different locations, and a lot of times players don't even they don't even have enough time to collect all of them, and their pay is reduced because of it. And it also has a 30-minute cooldown, and just the fact that you need to own a ramp buggy does not make this mission worth it. It's too complicated. Moving on to the regular CEO works here, we have air freight. This one requires you to go to a cargo bob and pick up a crate. and then you have to take this crate across the map, and usually you're gonna have a buzzard chasing you. And it took me around 4 minutes to get across the map in this one. And what's annoying about this mission is that the cargo value can actually decrease if the crate gets damaged, but I managed to get the full amount here, 21,800. And what's nice about this mission is it only has a 10-minute cooldown. Personally, I prefer Haulage over this one, because this one it takes too long to fly across the map, and you're a really easy target when you're in this cargo bob. Unless you have a friend protecting you, you're a really easy target, and there also needs to be at least one other random player in that lobby. Haulage, here we go. Now, in my opinion, this is the best VIP work that involves moving a vehicle from point A to point B. If you have a phantom wedge, you can hook it up with that and make the truck go so much faster. And also, if you have an MOC cab, you can hook it up and make it go faster that way. Don't recommend doing it with the regular phantom trailer because it's going to take a lot longer, but if you're using a phantom wedge or an MOC trailer, you should be able to get it there in under 5 minutes, just like me here. And I got around $22,000 for this one. I prefer this one so much over the air freight one, because the air freight one, you can lose cargo value along the way. This one, you can't really lose cargo value along the way. The front cab might be able to get destroyed, but the trailer itself is indestructible. The bad thing about this mission is that you at least need one other random person to be in the lobby, but other than that, this is one of the best VIP works to do in the game. It's a great one, easy way to get money. Here we're moving on to one of my favorites, Hostile Takeover, and if you're going to be doing Hostile Takeover, do it from LSIA or the altruist camp location. With a helicopter, you can pick it up from the altruist camp. You don't even need to fight the guys. And this one, on LSIA, all you need to do is just blow up these guys and just take it. You can pick it up in a vehicle, so you don't even need to actually get out of your vehicle, and then just take it across the map. I managed to complete it in under a minute and 30 seconds here, and I got around 15,500 for this. So this mission, very simple. Just pick up a package, take it from point A to point B. The only bad thing about this mission is that it has a 20-minute cooldown on it. But other than that, this is definitely one of the best VIP works to do in the game. Next one here is asset recovery. Ooh, where do I start with this one? If you're going to be doing this one, I personally recommend La Mesa Police Station because it's the closest to the highway, and it does have the Comet and the Banshee, which are fast vehicles. But this mission is the worst VIP work in the game. The reason that this mission is the worst VIP work is the rewards are not worth it for the amount of nonsense that you have to deal with. You have to deal with 4 stars driving these cars, and the worst is if you die along the way, the cops are just going to pile up around that car. Take a look at how many cops are around that car where I died. There's going to be so many there, and then it's going to be waves and waves of cops, and it's so hard to retrieve the vehicle. And then when you finally get to the drop-off point, you have to lose a wanted level, so you still have to lose 2 stars when you finally get to the drop-off point. And here, when we finally managed to actually deliver the 2 vehicles, it took us around 10 minutes to complete this, and we got around 24,500. This mission is not worth it. It has a 10-minute cooldown too, but this mission is not worth it, just for all the nonsense you have to deal with, all those cops crashing into you. And we're lucky that we completed this mission in 10 minutes. Sometimes people will not even complete this mission in 20 minutes, not even at all, because they can't even deliver the vehicles because there's so many cops just smashing into them. But this is the worst VIP work in the game by far. Second to last on this list is Executive Search, one of the first VIP works to come out. And for Executive Search, you just need to go to the specific area on it that it tells you to, and whoever the CEO leader is in your organization, they have to survive for 10 minutes. They have to keep them alive for 10 minutes. If they die, they get killed by another player in that time, you're going to lose it. I recommend personally going like up on a rooftop or somewhere like that, somewhere where other players aren't going to be looking for you. This mission, you can only start if there's at least one random player in the lobby. You can't start it if it's, you can start it in a friend session, invite session, but there has to be at least one person outside your CEO to start it. It can be a good CEO work if you just sit there for like 10 minutes AFK, but you will appear on the map. If it's just your friends in the lobby, you can just sit there, but personally, I don't recommend doing this in public lobbies. Last one on the list here is Piracy Prevention. Piracy Prevention does require you to own a yacht, so you need to own a yacht, and there needs to be at least one random player outside your CEO in the lobby, regardless of if it's a friend or not, just one other person outside your CEO in order to start it. And Piracy Prevention, it has a 1-hour cooldown on it. You just defend the yacht for 10 minutes. After defending the yacht for 10 minutes, you can get 30 grand. It's not the greatest CEO work, I would say, to do, but it is kind of fun, especially if other players come after you. It can be pretty fun defending the yacht. I always have fun. If other players come after me, I actually like the challenge. I like the challenge of defending my yacht, especially from other boats and helicopters. So it can be a fun one, but it's not necessarily the best one. And just the fact that you need to own a yacht to start this one up, and it's a 1-hour cooldown, not the greatest. I would call it more of an average VIP work. Now, let's go into a full breakdown of the cooldown times and the payouts for all the different VIP works that we got. And here we come to the end of our video. Headhunter is definitely the best VIP work. You can finish it in around 1 to 2 minutes. It has a 10-minute cooldown, and you get around 21,000. If you and your friend are in weaponized vehicles, you can easily finish it in 1 to 2 minutes. Sightseer is the second best one. You can do it in 5 to 6 minutes, and it has a 10-minute cooldown. You get around 23,000. Do Headhunter and Sightseer back to back. That's the best combination. Executive Search, it's still a good one though. You just need to sit around in the area for 10 minutes. Constantly move so you don't appear on the map. It has a 10-minute cooldown, and you can get around $25,000 for that one. Haulage, my favorite transporter one with vehicle. You can complete it in 5 to 6 minutes so long as you're using the Phantom Wedge or the MOC trailer. Has a 10-minute cooldown. You get around $22,000. Hostile takeover, average time, if you use some kind of air vehicle like a helicopter or a jet, 1 to 2 minutes, has a 20-minute cooldown, and you get around 15,500. And here are the average VIP works. These are the ones with the special vehicles mostly. And velocity, you can complete it in around 5 to 7 minutes. And so long as you're picking up the checkpoints, and it has a 30-minute cooldown, and you can get $33,000. But what's bad about this is you need to own a rocket Voltic in order to do this. You can't use your custom one either. And for Fortified, same concept. You need to own an armored Boxville, but this one you just need to sit around an area for 10 minutes. It has a 30-minute cooldown. You get around 35,000 easy. Ramped up, this one requires a lot of teamwork. This can be either easy or challenging depending on what kind of teammate you have. You can pick up a lot of them with the oppressor, but some of them you need to use the ramp to actually jump up. You can use any kind of bike that you want, and you can complete it in around 10 to 15 minutes. And if you're really quick with it, it has a 1-hour cooldown though, and it pays you 40,000. Piracy prevention, it's been in the game since the start of VIP works. You need to own a yacht. You can complete it in 10 minutes. It does have a 1-hour cooldown, and you can get around 30,000. Air freight though, this one 4 to 5 minutes you can complete it. Use a cargo bob. It has a 10-minute cooldown. You can get around 21,000, but I don't like this one because the value of the cargo can get damaged along the way. I prefer haulage much more over this. Transporter, it's an easy one too, but you need to own the Wastelander unfortunately for this, and you can complete it in around 4 to 5 minutes if you're quick. Has a 30-minute cooldown, and you can get 22,000. Plowed, you need to own a Phantom Wedge. Average completion time is 5 to 7 minutes. And it'll have an 1-hour cooldown. You get around 28,000. And here we have the worst VIP works. Never do these. Asset recovery is one. It'll take 10 to 15 minutes, and that's if you have a good team. Sometimes you won't even get the vehicle there. It has a 10-minute cooldown, and you get 24,500. If you crash and die, you're going to get surrounded by so many cops, and you also have to watch out for players on this one. Don't do this one. Asset recovery is horrible. Fully loaded is another one. Fully loaded, you can use it against griefers. You can use it against griefers and tryhards because the thing is very armored. It has unlimited missiles. However, we're basing this off of actual VIP work. You can complete this in around 10 minutes. That's if you're quick. You have to fly, literally go around the map with the Ruiner. Around the map, the targets are so far from each other, it's more effective if somebody gets into a weaponized vehicle like a jet or a buzzard and blows up the other ones. And it has a 1-hour cooldown, 23,000, fully loaded. It's not worth it unless you're going to be using it to fight griefers and tryhards. I will link my friend Gillymaster's channel in the description. He'll show you guys how to use that one against tryhards and griefers. And stockpiling, even though I said I prefer stockpiling over ramped up, that's because I always have a team playing with me. For the average player that's not going to have 3 other people in his CEO, do not do stockpiling. You need to own, just like for fully loaded, you need to own the Ruiner 2000 for stockpiling. You need to own the water buggy, and it's not water ATV. I'm sorry, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. $39,000. That's only if you pick up all the checkpoints, and it takes a long time to get around them, and sometimes you won't even get them all. So definitely not worth it. Do not do stockpiling. Just too complicated. 4 people. You got to go around the map. And finally, we have Amphibious Assault. This one, you need to own Technical Aqua. You can complete it in 5 to 10 minutes. That's if you're doing well on it. And it has a 1-hour cooldown. You get around 21,500. Don't do this one either. It's more effective if your teammate actually flies over there while you're in the while you are in the Technical Aqua and just destroys everything. But these are the best, the worst, and the average. And I pretty much got the average time on them. I got the cooldowns and I got the amounts. Let me know if I missed anything. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of this guide? Has this guide helped you out? If it has, please make sure to drop a like. It does help me if you enjoyed it. I didn't put Executive Deathmatch on this because I don't really count that as a VIP work. That's a PvP one, and almost nobody does that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.